Hey, Jess.
Okay, folks, we're going to start in just a moment, so please, everybody take your seats. Thank you. All right, folks, can you please, everybody take your seats. We're going to get started in just a minute here. All right, well, thank you all for coming tonight. This is the inaugural event for the Washtenaw Republican Club, and we really appreciate every one of you coming. It is going to be an exciting evening tonight, which, of course, is, well, every evening's exciting with Trump being president, right? Every day is Christmas with the news we hear coming from Washington. But, of course, we all remember all too painfully what happened in 2022, and we are still living with the consequences of that election here in Michigan. So we absolutely must build on the momentum that we carried through 2024 with into the 2026 election cycle. And those of us who've been in politics a while know that it's turbulent and things change. And it really does matter who are the people we choose to lead our party into the future. And the candidates tonight, I'll just say all the candidates tonight are qualified for the role, well qualified for the role, more so than the ones we had 2 years ago, thankfully. And I sincerely mean that. But they all are different people. They all have their strengths. And they're all going to be answering questions tonight from our moderators. So let me just first introduce, I suppose I should back up and introduce the Washtenaw Republican Club, since this is our first event. But of course, thank you. Of course, many of you know me, and you know our chairman, John Dunlap, who's the chair of the Washtenaw Republican Party in the past term. And we really, I think, did a lot of hard work in the last cycle, but we also believe that there is a need for something greater than just a political party in the county, but an organization that is something more permanent, more enduring. And one of the key aspects of something we want to do differently this year is to have not just an office like a headquarters that we've had for 20 plus years, but a place with frontage, a place in the community where people can see us visibly, that we're not ashamed to be Republicans in Washtenaw County, that they can come in, that they can meet with us, organize, get involved, get engaged, and that's what we're looking to do in the next year. That's one of the big priorities. But of course, beyond that, it's like Andrew Breitbart said, politics is downstream from culture. So if you haven't already been to WashtenaugHGOPclub.com, you see we're already Washtenaw County's finest news source. So be sure to check that out. And this event, obviously, is a state chair candidates forum. Tonight's going to be all about them. But really, starting right after tonight, the big project is going to be to build this Washtenaw Republican Club community. And that's going to mean having more informal events and really seeing what you guys all want to do, because we all have our gifts, we all have our talents, we all have the things we don't like to do. I, for example, do not like doing events, and Amber Harris can tell you that. But they have to be done, and that's why we have people that like to do events. And there's all kinds of different topics you can organize on, whether that's people that want to focus on the U.S. Senate race, or whether people that want to focus on what the Washtenaw County bureaucrats are doing in our schools. Building those working groups and finding the ways to get all these people engaged. And so we look forward to having a very exciting 2025, 2026 cycle, talking about all the great things Trump is doing to save America, and why it should be nice if we had a governor who wants to cut the size and cost of government instead of Gretchen Whitmer constantly trying to raise our taxes year after year after year. So with that being said, it looks like only one kid has won the punctuality prize. So before we go to our main event tonight, let's bring on, we've got some candidates for vice chair. And of course, they are also running in this Friday, Saturday convention. So let me start with, we have Chris Long here, who's running for grassroots vice chair. Is that right, Chris? Chris, why don't you come up and take a minute to introduce yourself?
Hello. I'm Chris Long, running for grassroots vice chair. I don't know if you're familiar with the Goshen Battery Plant Project up in Mecosta County that Whitmer and the left threw down our throats. But basically, I've been fighting that for the last 18 months. It's about 3 miles from my house. I've been on the team, core group of 5 people, Lori Brock and others, fighting that day in and day out. We went after the township, whole township board. In 2023, we recalled them. Why? Because they didn't listen to the constituents, so we recalled them. We led a whole effort. We got the vote out, and then we went after the county commissioners, and we got us secured a conservative majority at the county levels, the whole county. So I want running because, one, we need to start winning elections. And I want to take what we learned in Mecosta County, our strategies for success, and take them statewide. We need to start winning up and down the ballot. The Supreme Court, we need to take back the Supreme Court, win some seats. We need to get back our majority that we held in the Senate for 40 years that we lost in 2022. We need to take that back. We need to win back the governorship, obviously. We need to win across the county, all the counties, all 83 counties, and not just focus on 1 or 2. That's why I'm running, because I believe I have the skills and the knowledge to be able to do that based on what we've done in Mecosta County. We need to win back in 2026. So I'm Chris Long. Hopefully you can vote me next.
Thank you, Chris. All right, our next candidate is running for Coalition's vice chair, Susan Kokinda. Is Susan in the room right now? Oh, there she is. Introduce yourself, Susan.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. I'm going to pull the native daughter card here. I was born in this county. My parents met Ilkley Bombers at a well run, and I was born in Ipsy, back when it was known as Ipsy, Kentucky. Look, I'm running because I think our state party, and frankly every state party in the country, is about 5 years behind the political revolution that Donald Trump is carrying out. How many of you here have read the 2024 Republican Party platform? Okay, yeah, that's the same percentage I find everywhere. It's only 16 pages, people. Go to donaldjtrump.com. You can read it. It's the basis for a revolution which will allow us to create new coalitions, the coalitions that delivered the vote for Trump, especially in Wayne County, which is where I'm from, in 2024. Blue-collar workers, the communities that want peace, urban minorities, and so on. So I'm running because we've got to take Trump's cutting-edge policies out to these communities. In 2023, when Trump announced his Agenda 47 policies, I decided to hold bi-weekly Zooms to discuss these policies. During the faction fight, and I said to people, park it at the door. We're talking about Donald Trump's policies on this. In the UAW strike, we wrote a leaflet. We went out to the auto workers, found out already 50% of them supported Donald Trump. Then when we passed the platform, I tried to get the party to campaign with the platform. And when they wouldn't do it, we in the 13th Congressional District did this half-page flyer on the Trump-written platform that has 20 promises in the back, which gives you the basis for making durable, broad coalitions, especially on the questions of the economy and war. So you all know 2026 is going to be tough because Trump will not be at the top of the ticket. I'm running for coalition's vice chair because if we put his policies at the top of the ticket and rebrand now in 2025, we have the basis for winning. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Okay, next up we have Miguel Pilar, who's running for youth chair. Miguel, come on up.
Thank you. Just want to make sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Miguel Pilar. I am a candidate to become your next youth vice chair of the Michigan Republican Party. I got my start in politics a couple years ago by helping out candidates in my neck of the woods, knock doors, make phone calls, be in their parades left and right. Ever since, I have been on local, congressional, and gubernatorial campaigns all across the state of Michigan. I'm running for youth vice chair because I want to see more young people get involved in the party. My plan, Operation Gen Z, is to engage, identify, inspire, and mobilize the next generation of conservatives by recruiting at least 1,000 young people from all across the state. You know, we have to think outside the box when it comes to engaging with this youth, this next generation. Let's not just focus on college students, but also high school students and homeschool students as well. Let's meet them where they're at youth-centered events like Christian music concerts and football games. Let's turn that passion and make that, and let's put that into action by joining this Michigan Republican Party. I will be here throughout the course of the night, so please come and find me. I would love to answer all your questions. I hope to earn your support at our state convention this weekend. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Next, do we have Chris for youth chair? Does you want to come up too? Do you want to come on up? By the way, folks, we are also streaming live on the Rescue Michigan channel. So we had someone from Traverse City wanted to put the candidates for an event that they had, and we already got them. So we obliged them, and we are streaming live. So all the answers that are given tonight, they will be there for all Michigan to see. So enjoy. All right, Chris.
All right, my name is Krish Mathrani. That's Krish. I'm kind of scared to speak here because I'm a Spartan. Go green. Yeah. I'm running for the youth chair position of the Michigan Republican Party. We've seen a lot of promises made here tonight. I'm not running on promises. I'm running on results. A little bit about me that sets me apart from the other candidates is I am the only youth chair candidate that has raised money in my political career. I've raised over $500,000 for conservative candidates on the ballot. Youth chair candidates make a lot of promises, but it's hard to get things done without financial support. Number two, I'm the founder of Students for Vivek Ramaswamy on TikTok, where I have over 30 million unique viewers. President Trump's team and Vivek's team were so impressed by this that we did events at college campuses across the country. That is how President Trump won the popular vote. Number three, we need to recruit. I am sick and tired of being the youngest person in the room. We need to get young people involved, get to all the college campuses. I'm the only candidate here that is endorsed by the Michigan Federation of College Republicans. They are the reason why we have Congressman Tom Barrett. We need to continue to work harder, get the youth involved, and make a difference because the youth is what is going to deliver Michigan for the 2026 cycle. So thank you so much.
All right, thank you. All right, we got one more candidate for you, sir, Alex Beaton. And then we'll be finished with the candidates for vice chairs, and then we'll move on to the main event.
Thank you. All right, so I am Alex Beaton. I was the former St. Clair County's youth chair, the District 9 youth captain under Riley Linting, and a lot of what I did was building chapters at these universities. I built chapters at Trinity USA at SC4. I built chapters at Oakland University, did tabling at Macomb Community College and U of M with some street work. And the big thing that I noticed is that Trinity has a great infrastructure, and they're good for educating, but they're a 501(c)(3). And the issue with that is they can't endorse or support candidates. So what we need is a strong CR structure. And what I've noticed is that the CRs right now are very weak. And I talked to some people today actually about the CRs, and they've been improving. They've been more active, but 2 years ago, they were very inactive. You would apply to a CR or build a chapter at a college, and you would get ghosted. So I want to build a strong infrastructure. I want to build a CR chapter at every university, and I want to help train the chapter presidents at every university to build these chapters and lead them. I have been trained by the Ridge Institute, and they teach you how to lead a youth movement, how to build a youth movement. I've already done it in District 9. I want to take the effort and do it in the entire state. So we're already starting that work. I'm the only candidate which has a majority of youth backing him. I am the youth choice. I'm also endorsed by the CRAs. The CRAs stand for the College Republicans of America. Okay, they were the first PR organization to endorse Trump before he was even in the primaries. They're also the only organization, not just the only organization, but rather they have Aaron Trump also part of their chapter at New York University. So they're the most conservative, they're the most MAGA, America First CR organization. They have a great infrastructure, and they are massive. They have a lot of members that go to these events. I think that we could really use their infrastructure, if not use them, and take inspiration from them and build that here in Michigan at every single university. I am fearless. I'm an America's patriot, and I'm a strong Christian, and we should take these values and bring them to the government, and we should reclaim our society of Christian values. So I want to bring America first to the youth, and I want to build chapters at every university, build a strong infrastructure, do strong leadership, and that's pretty much it.
Great, thank you, Al. By the way, do we sound okay? Just making sure. All right, good. All right, now for the main events, and if you'd like to take a seat at the candidates table. Everyone, please welcome all the extremely hard-working Republicans: Meshawn Maddock, Ambassador Cella, State Senator Jim Runestad. You can take a seat. And now I'm going to introduce our moderators for tonight. We have two outstanding moderators. We have Brian Ignatowski, who was our nominee for state representative in the last term. Nearly knocked out Jennifer Coleman, and maybe in the next cycle he will take back that seat for the Republicans. And we have Angela Johns, who was our events chair for the Washington County Republican Party the last cycle, and we can't wait to see what she'll be doing with us in the next couple of years with the Washington Republican Club. So please welcome Brian Ignatowski and Angela Johns. And just a quick note, so the candidates will each get an equal amount of time. They'll be asked a question, some will be asked all three of them, some will be asked to just one candidate at a time, but they'll all get equal time. If they want to attack one another, as often happens in these events, that's fine. They will be able to respond to each other in their own time, however they see fit to spend their equal amount of time. We want to give them all equal time, and they can use it however they see fit to answer the questions that we're going to put to them. Amber Harris in the front row has the timer, so she will put your 90 seconds for 2 minutes or whatever it is on the clock, so you can see how much time you have remaining, and we will just try to get to as many questions as we can for tonight. So I will shut up and get out of here. And who wants to go first? Brian, you go first. Here you go.
Thanks, Adam. All right, the first group of questions. We have one question. Each candidate will respond in 2 minutes. The first question, candidates, if you are elected chair of the Michigan Republican Party, will you collect a salary? Also, will your co-chair be collecting a salary? Yes or no? And additionally, do you have any other salaries you will be collecting from anywhere else?
Do you have any
Whoever wants to go first.
I would probably collect a salary if our party was able to continue fundraising the way that we have been just this past cycle under Chairman Hoekstra, who collected a salary. When I was co-chair of the party, Ron Weiser did not collect a salary. Instead, he paid me a salary of $60,000 a year. I would probably wait and let the budget committee have a meeting and decide whether or not it was prudent. I do earn a good living. My husband and I own a business. I collect a salary. I couldn't even tell you what it is right now. But I would disclose that, and I don't need the paycheck, but I certainly work very hard, and if the party can afford it, then yeah, I would take a salary. My co-chair has not asked for any type of compensation. I expect him to be bringing in a lot of money to the party. It's the reason I chose him. He's a fundraiser and has raised millions for Donald Trump over the last 10 years.
I would take a salary if it was offered by the budget committee. Obviously, you got to make sure that there's money there because it's about a $500,000 deficit to begin with, and then you got to raise about minimum 2.4 to maybe $5 million in the next year and a half. I would donate my Senate salary to the effort to a state party. I do have income from my years of owning a financial services firm where I do get residual payments off of that also supplements my income. But neither my co-chair would not get anything, and whatever the budget committee decided to pay me is what I would get, and again, donate my Senate salary to the effort. Thank you.
When I had the honor to serve as President Trump's United States ambassador to Fiji and 4 other South Pacific Island nations, my day one speech to my embassy colleagues is that we would do things, all things, legally, morally, and ethically. So to that end, necessarily, we would do the same thing if Jessica and I have the honor of serving as your next co-chair and co-chair of the party. And importantly, the bylaws stipulate that the chair and co-chair may receive a salary. It's obviously approved through the appropriate protocols. Pardon me, the chair. And then I would posit that if the budget committee determines that the co-chair needs the salary, then that would obviously be with consultation with them and incorporated into the bylaws. Presently, it's not. So all things would be done transparently. And to ensure accountability. I think that in recent years, it transcends the past 2 regimes, but I think the party needs to be run like a business on the beautiful movement that we're a part of right now. And so we can really be good stewards for you and serve you most efficaciously and really keep our laser beams targeted on one thing, and that's getting the Republicans elected and Democrats defeated. My friend Dale Banicki here had 2 close calls, and he didn't have primaries, but I think, if he steps up to the plate for a 3rd one and is free of a primary, I think that's a great opportunity to perhaps expand that majority. So in any event, I would say that I would disclose, you work with the budget committee to set the salary. And then if the co-chair is deemed by the budget committee to have salary as well, that would be decided upon. But I would take that and then disclose any other outside income, as I know my colleagues would for their current enterprises, as the bylaws stipulate. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ambassador, and thank you, candidates. We're going to back up a little bit because we didn't give you the 2 minutes for your opening statements. And also, in the effort of fairness, we're going to make sure that not everybody goes first or last in responding to questions. So let's have somebody besides Meshawn go first. Right. So if one of the gentlemen would like to give a 2-minute opening statement, and we'll get back on track. Thank you.
Well, my name is Senator Jim Runestad, and I started in politics about 16 years ago in the county commission. And when I ran for the county commission, we were in the 07-08 meltdown. Oakland County had a 25% unemployment. It was the worst in the state of Michigan. And I discovered that there was a ton of illegal workers working on the taxpayer dollars, from the 6 county golf courses to the international airport owned by the county, and thousands of jobs with contractors, subcontractors with county pay. First thing I did was put in a bill to eliminate that. It's called E-Verify, and I've hit a firestorm. Most of the commissioners, almost all of them, did not want to do it, nor did the executive. And I found out why, because there was a whole lot of donations coming from this operation that was hiring these illegals. After 4 months of fighting, I won that battle unanimously, and every one of those illegals were off the job and replaced by citizens in the state of Michigan. When I ran to the House, there was trust, as there always is this person going to honor what they say? They knew where I stood, but you honor it when you go to work. When I went up to Lansing, I had among or the most conservative record every single year. When I ran for the Senate, the same concern. For 6 years, I've had among the most conservative record every single year. And everyone in here knows what that means. That means you're fighting. The stuff that they will offer you or they will threaten you with is relentless. And what I told people I was going to do in that office is what I did when I was making my votes. And that is what my commitment is here today, is to take my philosophy of making sure that this will be the best run party ever. We will make sure that the corruption is gone. I will run a Doge operation day one. There's one consultant who year after year gets almost all of the contracts. I've seen the contract he gets doesn't pay. Not one of you would donate to a state party where one guy gets half of the pay. That Doge operation will also include the transparency and people are getting payments that they didn't earn. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Dunlap, for opening the doors to us this evening, to we 3 candidates running to serve as your next chair and co-chair, Andrew and Brian, thank you, and ma'am, thank you for being here and moderating. I'm actually a native of Macomb County. Presently live in Washtenaw County. I'm from the city of Richmond. Graduate of the Great Hillsdale College. You see a jersey there behind me. Our eldest is there. Our next eldest will be there with her in the fall. And in my life's work, I've been 35 years in the arena. Politics, government, nonprofit work. I've been 15 years an entrepreneur, a consulting firm, not a political consulting firm, as some of my opponents suggest. Clientele have been business people, nonprofits doing crisis management, marketing, public relations. I separate myself, I stand apart from my opponents in three ways. One, along with my wonderful co-chair candidate, Jessica Bearfield. 2016, I served as President Trump's, he tabbed me to serve in a leadership capacity in his campaign. I was with him in the war room on election morning and election night. Had great success. Commuted the final month of the campaign. Later that night, was asked if I could go to the West Wing and get back home and meet our newborn. And they said, we'll be ready because you'll probably be offered an ambassadorship. So I had to get my names in. Fiji was at the top of the list. And 6 months later, I got the call from the White House. Honored to serve as U.S. ambassador. I fought in highly consequential, impactful, high-stakes battles on the state level in Michigan, the national level. And I'm not a Lansing insider. Nor is Jessica. We're not in Lansing or of Lansing, and we look forward to talking about this more. Thank you very much for your time.
Hey, everybody. How many people in this room are precinct delegates? Okay, great. So I set myself apart from my opponents in that I am a longtime party activist. I've been a precinct delegate for almost 20 years. I've served in pretty much every capacity that the party has. I have been a district chair. I've been an activist on many campaigns. I served on President Trump's 2016 campaign as a county co-chair. Because we won Michigan with that ragtag team, I went on to serve on the National Advisory Board of Women for Trump in 2020. And this past cycle, I worked for Donald Trump as an advisory to the campaign, specifically working on events and coalitions as we neared the end. And we won Michigan. It was fabulous. I'm proud to say, yes, every single morning is Christmas morning right now in Michigan. And the great news about that is that people are so excited when they wake up every single morning that donors and activists are ready to fight and win in 2026. I want to be the leader that helps compel that and bring that to fruition. Nobody else running has a relationship with President Trump that I have. It's a personal relationship. He answers my phone if I call him. He's called me many times. Many people have witnessed this unbelievable gift, and it has been a gift. It's an important relationship of trust. I also know his team. I work very closely with his team. I don't have consultants running my campaign right now. I have Trump 47 employees who are no longer employed right now who are helping me to win because I worked with them this whole cycle, and they trust me and they want me in this leadership role. So I hope to serve as your next chairman. I have a lot of energy. It's the only thing I've ever done is politics for the last 10 years. And I can promise you that even if I'm not elected to be your next state party chair, I will still be working just as hard to be electing Republicans here in Michigan because it's the only thing that I want to do.
Thank you. The next question, can you give us a specific instance where for yourself or another candidate, you have set up and implemented a statewide strategy for early and or absentee voting?
I have been a part of those endeavors, but not the architect of such. I know how to do it. I have established campaigns from the ground level involving the State House, the State Senate. I have initiated campaigns on the state level and national level that have been, as I mentioned earlier, high stakes, highly consequential. Most recently leading the charge to defeat Governor Whitmer's corrupted deal with the Communist Chinese Party tied Goshen and Mecosta County, exposing that nobody was doing anything. The congressional committee delegation was doing nothing. The state legislature was doing nothing, and parachuted and did that. I can tell you that I began my involvement with the Republican Party in 1988 as a write-in candidate, precinct delegate, and I served in that capacity until the early 2000s, just before I was married. And am proud of my record. It speaks for itself. I fought, led, won, and served in very contentious battles, and have made a difference. And there are winning models we can turn to from the past. I think that we look at what happened in 2026 as a winning model, and I think we need to build on that. I think there is proof of concept, and I think there's many opportunities how to further expand that footprint by a finer tuned machine.
Thank you.
I've definitely not implemented my own early voting operation. I mean, I was part of watching the party struggle with this message in 22, and in 2024, we absolutely, it's how we won. Making the election too big to rig, I think we all know, is exactly the recipe to win again in 2026. Republicans struggle with early voting, and over the years, I've watched the messaging evolve and change. I think it's great that the Republicans are evolving with that messaging. Teaching voters how to be on the permanent absentee ballot list is literally job number one. That education of the Republican Party is something that I will absolutely be messaging and implementing. I have a really large following on social media, so things like that are easy for me. Getting people to not be afraid to think that the only way Republicans should vote is to show up on election day is a hurdle that we have to accomplish. So many decades of older Republicans believe that that's the only way to do it. The truth is Democrats have been winning this way for a long time. And until we evolve and adjust and teach Republicans that that ballot needs to be sitting on their kitchen table for every special election and every off-cycle election, that's the way Republicans will win.
No, excuse me, I wouldn't say that I've been involved on a statewide effort, but with the absentee ballot voting, I've always understood that there's two elections. There's the election day and there's the absentee. So you have to have a complete operation on the absentee ballots to make sure you're tracking all of those, to make sure as people are voting, you're taking them off and reaching out to those who have not yet voted. The early voting is something that the Republicans are not used to doing. The Democrats have been very good at it. So there's got to be a lot of changes where we make this an integral part of the entire campaign operation. It's actually 3 instead of 2 elections that we have to be worried about. And I know I've talked to a lot of school board candidates that we thought we were going to win, and it was the early voting they didn't really pay attention to when we lost those school board races. So it's got to be really a comprehensive effort on going across the board in 2026 to make sure we have all of those bases covered. Thank you.
When you guys are done talking, turn the mic off because people are hearing the double feedback from the two.
We're working off there.
Just turn your mic off when you're not speaking.
Yeah, when you're not speaking, just turn the microphone off.
You can do that on your mic.
Oh, I turn theirs off?
You turn yours
Oh,
off.
Okay, next question. Candidate, what is your plan to fight for election integrity, especially in regard to the issue associated with Jocelyn Benson being the Secretary of State while running her own campaign? Please give specifics.
The idea that Jocelyn Benson is running her own campaign while she is Secretary of State is ludicrous. Republicans need to be constantly pushing on this. We need to force her to step down. It is a complete breach of her office. I would argue that Senator Runestad is sort of doing the same thing right now as an elected official. He is running to be state party chair when he's sitting in his Senate office and filming a video of the Capitol and then sharing it on his Jim Runestad for Chair page. He is in clear violation. If somebody that wants to give a check to the party calls Jim and he's sitting in his office or even walking on Capitol property, he's not going to be able to take that phone call because that is also an ethical breach of conduct. So when it comes to Jocelyn Benson, I am the only candidate who has announced that on day one, I will be filing a lawsuit to force her to clean up the QVF files. It has been a long time coming. It is much needed from the party. Everybody wants it. And the hard part is finding an attorney willing to do it. Well, guess what? I found that attorney. It's Matt DePerno. So I look forward to keeping Jocelyn Benson on the run. I've already done it. She hates me on Twitter, and I will never stop fighting for election integrity. I was at Cobo Hall on election night in 2020, and I was one of the last faces at the window while they boarded up the window with pizza boxes.
Well, there she goes again. All of this stuff she's spewing out is absolutely untrue. And the idea that you can say, I'm going to file a lawsuit. I mean, anyone can say that. What you have to look at is what was actually done. All the way back to 2020, the very first thing I did was sign on with 11 other senators to hold up the election until we got actual answers from Mike Pence and from Congress. Very first thing out of the chute. I, with Jonathan Lindsay and a bunch of others, filed a federal lawsuit against the illegal ballot election, which is not permissible because the time, place, and manner of elections has to be by the Constitution, done by the legislature. What happened to that lawsuit? It was kicked out as lack of standing. Almost all of the election lawsuits are by lack of standing. This is something we have to keep fighting. And I fought Benson on her illegal 603 that was absolutely illegal. I did a speech that had 14 million people that watched that video. The RNC got involved, hired a lawyer that prevented her from doing that. And I can go on and on. I had a huge forum that I put together on election integrity that all of these legislators were there testifying. You could say, well, I'm going to do, but she was the chair for 2 years, and it was the worst outcome we've ever had in the state of Michigan. So what I'm bringing is not what I'm going to do, it's what I've done and that I will do in the future. Thank you.
So we need not look any further than just a couple miles down the road to look at the disgraceful state of our election process, ballot integrity, when you consider that a Chinese national student at the University of Michigan cast a vote and it was counted in this last year's election. Bizarrely, he turned himself in and was charged. We'll see if he's convicted. Hopefully he'll be deported. But I think that's just the leading edge of the chaos that we're observing here. I mean, it's not only Benson, but it's Whitmer and Nessel. This two-tier system of justice is a disgrace. We need to clean up Michigan in 2026, just like President Trump cleaned up the United States of America through the 2024 election. We have many opportunities abound that stand before us. I think with President Trump, we'll see in the coming weeks or months, you'll see him, I think, lead a move to restore that integrity. It probably would be through paper ballots, some watermarks, some time restrictions. That's to be seen. It's a difficult thing to navigate, but I'm hopeful. I think we also need to look here what's going on in the state. You have State Representative Brian Posthumus, the House Majority Leader. He's leading a drive for a constitutional ballot requiring citizenship vote, as well as Ronna Romney. In fact, I just heard the other day she's leading a ballot initiative, apparently, something similar to what Representative Posthumus is. So stay tuned for that. We don't know quite what that will all. But all eyes are on this, and I'll do my part. I have the honor, Mr. Chairman, to keep this issue one with the legislature and others as necessary. Thank you.
I believe this is our last question for all three of you, and then we have more specifics. How will you ensure every part of our party has a voice?
This is something that I'm seeing as a major problem all across the state of Michigan. I've been the longest on the trail now, 4 months. When you say I can't do this job, 4 months, 7 days a week, 1, 2, 3, 4 events a day. Relentless. Haven't missed a vote in all my time. Have one of the best voting records. One of my opponents had missed 118 votes out of 6,400 votes over 10 years. Less than 0.01% have I missed. It's one of the best voting records of any legislator ever. This is stuff you have to deal with. So the fact is, that we have to get people together. I've seen these fights in counties where they're yelling at each other across the county, and a lot of times it's personalities. So a lot of what I do is try to tell people, this little personality difference is nothing. What we have out there is the most evil forces ruining our kids, ruining their mental health, destroying them, getting child pornography in the elementary schools. If that isn't enough to get you riled up, they're destroying businesses. We're going to be worse in California, worse than Chicago with what they're doing to this community. There's so many things that we have to do to fight the Democrats. There's no room for fighting each other. And that is something that I will do relentlessly in getting people in the room, leaders in the room, to make sure that we come together before, say, a convention, having a discussion. I've been doing this my entire life. What are your issues? Let's iron these out so that we get in together. We're one team working together. Thank you.
The name of my company is called Pontifex Group. Pontifex in Latin means bridge builder. That is who I am, and that's what I've done with great success. It's what I love doing. I love loving people, but I also love fighting in the political trenches, and I'm successful at it. Should I have the honor of serving as your chairman and Jessica Bearfield as your co-chairman, we would blaze a path across the state, bridge build, bridge people who feel disenfranchised or have been caught up in the prop wash of the tumult and chaos that we've sadly had to witness the last few years. That's who we are. And we know that there will be intransigent people, but you got to go with them. People in our time across the state, they really seem thirsty. The grassroots are thirsty. They want attention, they want direction, they want intentional leadership, which we would bring for you in serving you. We have in our plan, I gave it, we published a plan last week. We can go tomorrow. I printed a copy to a young older man in Monroe. So if you go to our website, MIGOP Great Again, you will find it there. We are the only of the candidates to publish a specific plan. It's broad, it's comprehensive, it's creative, it's bold, and I think it serves as a model for other states. It presents a great opportunity to dig in, fight, and win against the Democrats. Thank you very much.
I think the way that we
Sorry, go ahead.
I think the way that we bring and make everybody in the party feel like they have a voice and feel like they're part of the party is not by just the chairman providing that voice. It's by the chairman empowering our leadership of the party. We're spending a lot of time focusing on this one singular role. The truth is our party is made up of 13 congressional district chairs, 80-some county chairs, our huge state committee, which we're about to hold elections for. This group of people is the party. The chair is really here to just facilitate an organized party. If I empower all of the people that are our district chairs and our county chairs and our state committee, where they have a voice and they can go back into their district committees and hear from those people what changes they want to make, what type of fundraisers they want to hold. You know, what people need in Houghton is different from what people need in Ann Arbor, is different from what people need in Monroe or Detroit. And so I think that it's by empowering our leaders, letting all of them clearly have a voice with each other is the most important thing. I have announced a plan, it's on my website, but one of the first things that I will initiate if I am your chairwoman is that I'm going to have monthly meetings, and those monthly meetings are not just with our district chairs, but all of our county chairs and all of our state committee, where we come together with ideas, we make plans, we hold huge events, and we empower all the people.
Yeah. Real quick, just so the candidates know, we're trying to juggle having it sound good in the room and also sound good on the internet. So that's why apparently only one mic at a time can work. So I'm trying my best, you guys, but please speak loudly into your microphone so that they can hear you on the internet too.
All right, thanks, Adam. And apologize, we have a correction. We have one more question that's for all of the candidates, and then we'll get into some candidate-specific questions. The next question actually comes from our friend Dale, who we agree should run again. If his wife will let him. And the question is, are you willing to take legal action against Democrats who spread false information and lies about Republican candidates? And if so, to what end?
Well, you have a real issue there because when I was in the county commission, I went to testify. Dave Agema was a state representative, and he was trying to get E-Verify passed. He had talked to me how I got it done in Oakland County. He was trying to do that at the state. So I was supposed to be the ringer to come in, and they had a nasty chair, and I was supposed to combat the nasty chair. So I came in there, and I saw all these leaflets tying me to racial hate groups and all just stuff that was complete, absolute lies. So I went and I did my testimony, and then I went and took it to lawyers, and they said, no. At first they said, oh yeah, we're going to sue all over this thing. This is outrageous. Then they said, nope. Michigan's one of 4 states that if you are an elected official or you're in the public realm, they can say almost anything against you. There is no way. They said if there was all these other states, we bankrupt the lawsuit. But they said Michigan is a strange state. So it's very difficult from a legal standpoint to be able to defeat what they do. It is coming down to the messaging. That's what I do the best. I do more TV, radio, and print than the entire Senate combined, year after year, going after the Democrats. If they're lying, you have to have, like Trump does, you got to stop the media and say, no, they're lying. No, you got to stop all these people in these debates and make sure you get your message across. That's what we have to do because a lawsuit isn't going to do it. Thank you.
So I would say that the bar is pretty high in this environment. I think if it crosses the line of libel and slander, and there's grounds, I mean, it depends on the jurisdiction you're in. Those are precious funds that would have to be weighed by the candidate, certainly the state party, but an uphill road. I think the exemplar of winning, who has more of a bottomless pit of money than most state parties do, or county parties or candidates, is President Trump. He just puts the wood to the left. He puts the heat right back at him. That is what Jessica and I have been doing. We've been subjected by one of my candidates to a withering tsunami of fake news. It's extraordinary. You've received it all. It has to be countered head on, particularly when it's untrue. So I think we should step up to the side of candidates who are subjected to these things, whether they meet that legal bar of libel, slander, or whatever, and give them air cover. Heavy fire, again, you can't guarantee legal outcomes. If it does cross the threshold, you'd certainly have to confer with the general counsel of the Michigan Republican Party and act accordingly. And certainly if the state party is subjected to something similar as well, but has to be handled with care and I think managed expectations. But great way to do it is just by fire. Thank you.
Yeah.
First of all, finding attorneys bold enough and brave enough, willing to take on Democrat candidates and Democrat electors is nearly impossible in the state of Michigan or pretty much anywhere. I'm an indicted elector. The weaponization of government against Republicans is something that we have endured now for pretty much almost a decade since they went after Donald Trump. Finding attorneys willing to stand up and fight for election integrity, nearly impossible. You know, they have intimidated our entire legal system, not just the people. So I would probably say no, that's going to be very hard. Plus, if they're an elected official, you can't really file a lawsuit against them. As to the comments that Joe Cella just made about myself, there is not a single thing that I have said about Joe Cella that I do not have facts to prove. So I'm not sure which lie he's talking about, but I have all of the proof. I've said that he's not a precinct delegate, that he hasn't been one for 20 years. That is a fact. I've said that he has said very negative things about President Trump in 2016. That is a fact. I've said that he was in the print saying very negative things about January 6th and the insurrectionists. That is also a fact. And I've also said that his Wikipedia page from 2020 all the way to 2024 said that he was a leader in the Never Trump movement, and it was edited the day after Donald Trump just won on January 6th. That's a fact.
You get a rebuttal.
It goes into the next question, right? It goes to your next. It would go into your next question.
Next question is now.
We're gonna have another round of questions. Yeah.
How many campaigns have you run and won?
I have managed a city council race, a state representative's race, won both of those, won a state senate primary, 7-way, won that one, won a primary for president in 2000 and let's see, part of winning presidential primaries in 2008, 12, and certainly the general election in 16. But more importantly, I have a distinguished track record of leading issues that have been very consequential in Michigan and around the country. So in Michigan, I mentioned the Goshen fight that I've led the charge on with great patriotic citizens and delegates like yourself. I've also, when Governor Whitmer, remember she did that really woke lunatic thing of feeding that woman at Dorito chip, mocking Catholics and Christians. It angered Jews and Muslims as well. Total disgrace. Mobilized a protest in front of the governor's mansion. 100 people lit it up with Fox News. It became a national story, became an international story. Derailed Harriet Meyer's nomination for Supreme Court in 2005 so we can have Justice Samuel Alito. I submit to you that was a better result than what President George W. Bush was pushing. Lastly, I raised several $100,000 to Senator Thune, now Senate Majority Leader John Thune, to defeat Senate Minority Leader Tom Daschle. He says to this day, without you, I wouldn't be here. Thank you very much.
Are you guys keeping track of the order? We're not really. I'll take it. I think I'm next. I've worked on so many campaigns over the last decade. I really couldn't count them all. We've lost. The first time that my husband ran, we lost. It was the greatest experience I ever had. I learned more in losing an election than we ever did all of the multiple times after that we won. But I've worked on campaigns for governor, for Congress, for many state representative races that I've been involved in helping, many very successful races. There's nothing like it. There really isn't any part of running a campaign that I don't understand or that I haven't personally done, from pounding signs into the ground to dealing with campaign finance to fundraising to messaging. I've done it all. So I feel very confident in being in the role of chair of the party and having candidates come in and spending time with them, helping them on their campaign and making sure that they're running a good, strong campaign, helping them with fundraising, with finance compliance. It'll be an important job, and it's an important part of the role if I'm your next state party chair.
Well, I started my first working on a campaign in, I believe it was 1991. I've lost track of the number of campaigns that I've worked on. I took over the North Oakland Republican Club back when it was the Waterford Republican Club and had about 6 members. And first turned it down twice and said, well, all right, we'll see what we can do with this. Grew it into the largest, as Solon Newsted said, in the 6 years I was there, it became the largest monthly attended organization in the state of Michigan. I worked on so many campaigns during that time period, I lost track. I was helping design literature in the last campaign for candidates. Did training this last time and so many other times. I think I've won 8 elections in a row since I was elected in 2008, including the closest Republican win as a senator, a very, very close race in 2022, in 18, and then again one in 2022. And the worst time we ever had, the worst disaster in the state of Michigan was in 2022 when Ron Weiser left and Meshawn was the co-chair. So I have a lot of experience in running campaigns for over 30 years and victory after victory. So this is something I really work with candidates going forward in the state of Michigan to help them win. Thank you.
All right, thank you, candidates. We are at 8 o'clock, so now we're going to break into some candidate-specific questions. Before I do that, I would like to introduce some U of M college Republicans that are here. Their presidents here, Alex, and if you guys just stand up and wave to everybody. Thank you for being here tonight.
And then before we'll have this round of questions, there are one question each per candidate specific, so we won't have to worry about who's going to go or calling you. It's been pretty fair, and with time, we'll have closing statements, some vice chair statements, and then, okay, so yeah, we'll cross that out. Thank you. So I said it.
We have one vice chair that came in late.
Okay, perfect. Okay, first question specifically is for Senator Runestad. Senator Runestad, you said that you will put all of your energy into being state party chair over being a state senator. Regarding your district, do you have one or more candidates or potential candidates interested in running for your seat? If so, how many candidates? And can you share names of any potential candidates or people you think would be well suited to protect your seat once it has been vacated?
The only names I've heard is Matt Maddock, Meshawn Maddock, and Ryan Berman as potential candidates for that seat. I've heard from all three of those. I don't know which of those three are eventually going to be running for that, but those are the only three candidates I've heard.
Thank you.
This question is for Mr. Cella. I think it's fair to say that prior to running for chair, that most Republicans in Michigan don't know you very well. Our past party chairs have been a former congressman, U of M regent, state lawmaker, and people who have been involved. Sorry. Oh, okay. So sorry. How will you connect with Michigan Republican leaders and donors when you haven't been here in a long time?
Well, I've been in Michigan 53 out of my 55 years. So I taken second seat to nobody on these matters. I became involved in the arena when I was a young man. 1980 was the first time that I remember it. Working in my father's law partner's campaign. 88 was the first organized effort as a Republican precinct delegate involving with Hillsdale College Republicans. As I mentioned to you earlier, how Jessica and I stand apart from our opponents is that we are Lansing outsiders. We are not in Lansing, nor are we of Lansing. And do you know who that reminds me of? Who is the greatest outsider in political history in the United States of America? Who knows the answer? No. Thank you. And you know what? Just like us, he has had to endure and still every day the withering fire, the crucible of fake news. I have been in the state. I've been working. I've maintained relations with state legislators, members of Congress, varying degrees, members of the House and Senate in other states, fighting on the front lines in critical battles, whether it involves the disastrous, corrupted deal with Chinese-based, communist Chinese-based Goshen, Governor Whitmer, or in the other states that I mentioned with John Thune taking out Tom Daschle in 04. I'm very proud of that, and I take a second seat to nobody. It speaks for itself. I'm very proud of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, the next question is for Meshawn. Meshawn, how would you assure delegates that if elected to serve as the chair, that you would enthusiastically support all Republican candidates, no matter what wing of the party they hail from?
I mean, that's easy. Whoever is your next chairman needs to run a fair and orderly office, never put their finger on the scale of any election, hold fair debates for our candidates for governor, for U.S. Senate, fight very strong in pro-Republican, anti-communist messaging on social media, which is something I am excellent at. I eat communists for breakfast every day, so I'm not intimidated by that at all. And then post-primary, focus all of our energy on our candidates. It's something I'm very experienced in doing. I have worked very hard on some primary races, and I've not always supported the candidates because I've always been what I would consider a more far right wing of the party. And once our candidates are through the primary, nobody has worked harder for those candidates than myself. Perfect example is Mike Rogers. I'm also right now a great friend with Christy Rogers, who I met along this last campaign. Was Mike Rogers my first choice during the primary before Donald Trump endorsed him? No, he was not. But the minute Trump got on board with Mike Rogers, and the second that Mike Rogers won our primary, I was on Team Rogers. I hosted 4 events. I helped him fundraise. I personally delivered him a $10,000 check. I worked very closely with his wife on Women for Rogers events, and I am Team Republican.
Okay, thank you. And now we will move into the next segment, which will be candidates' closing statements. You each have 2 minutes. Let's start with Senator Runestad. Go ahead, you have 2 minutes for your closing statement.
Well,
Can you hear me? Well, the first thing that we have to do here in the state of Michigan is clean up the cesspool that has been going on in state party. That one guy for over a decade has been taking half of the money. I've seen the contract. How we can stand to have 4 House seats lost this last cycle, very close, 2 of them by less than 700 votes. Those U.S. Supreme Court candidates left with nothing. $29 million going through state party. One guy, no bid contract, friends and family payments going out of state party. There's so many issues. First thing I would do is competitively bid. Nobody, no donor I talk to is going to give any money to a party doing that. This guy, John Yob, Meshawn has said she will rehire him. I will clean that thing out immediately. There will be no bid contracts. Everything is going to be competitively bid day one. If you want somebody who's going to take it to the Democrats, all you need to do is go on my videos, see the debates I have done with every one of the top candidates. I offered those debates now. Not one of them will do it. Twice they got burned, and Nessel and Benson took clips on my debate with them and put it out on when they were running for the re-election. So if you're looking for a fighter, if you're looking for someone like Donald Trump, that has to fight not only those candidates, but the moderators. If you watch what I'm doing, I have to tell the moderators, and that's not what I said. I need equal time. You got to fight. And getting out there and delivering the message that we have to get out, that is going to have to be done without Donald Trump this time. He's the president. We have got to be the voice. We have got to be picking up those independent voices, independent voters, and it's got to be through the messaging. If we're laying around and not getting out there and not going after it like we have done in the past, we're toast. We have a U.S. Senate candidate, the first one in Michigan in years, first time ever to have a U.S. Senate candidate and governor up for election. The governor race, the Secretary of State, Attorney General, 3 congressional seats. We have 2 more Supreme Court cases, Supreme Court nominees we have to get. We got to get the House, the Senate. It's one of the most important elections, and we need a fighter out there messaging, and that is what I promise you I will do. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Senator.
I know your body endorsed my worthy opponent, Senator Runestad. I would just ask that you keep an open mind. It was posted. Forgive me. Senator, forgive me for that. I did not know there's division in the House, so forgive me. This is a very consequential vote. It's probably the most consequential vote in the history of the Michigan Republican Party. I would submit to you that my great co-chair running mate, Jessica Bearfield, and I are the best candidates to serve you and lead you as we head into this very pivotal election. This is a chance to reform and have leadership transformed in the Michigan Republican Party in the greatest level that we've had in decades. Senator Runestad pointed out, first time in our history that we've had the U.S. Senate seat in the governor's race open. We need to win those. AG, Secretary of State, field great candidates. The Supreme Court is another great opportunity. Certainly preserving and expanding our House majority and maybe regaining the majority of the Senate. There's a pivotal election coming up if Governor Whitmer decides to call it in the 35th State Senate District. Unconscionably, she has not called that for over 100 days. I wrote an op-ed about 100 days, about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, decrying her political foot dragging. 2 years ago, when 2 House seats were open, left vacant by elections of Democrats that ran for the mayoral offices in Warren and Westland, it took her 2 weeks Why? This double standard must not stand. She's overseeing this two-tier system of justice. If we have the honor of having your vote, you will see our plan put into action on day one, already having early conversations, should we have the distinction of serving as your next chair and co-chair to get to work. Much is at stake, and I know we will serve you proud if we have your support as chair and co-chair. Thank you very much. God bless.
Thank you, Ambassador.
Endorsements a lot of times in these races don't mean very much. For me, they haven't always meant as much. I feel in this race, they're particularly important. I've been endorsed by Charlie Kirk almost immediately after I announced. I've also been endorsed by Turning Point, his organization, which spent millions and millions of dollars in this last election in 2024. I've been endorsed by Scott Pressler, who's pledged to me his resources, his time. He's told me that he will be here 6 times helping to train Republicans. He trusts my leadership. I've also been endorsed by Scott Greenlee, who so graciously stepped down because he wants to be part of the America First team. I will be depending on him hugely to make an incredible Mackinac conference and to make the liaison with the White House and the constant connection with the RNC a responsibility of Scott's because he's excellent at it. I've also been endorsed by Vance Patrick, Garrett Soldano, almost the entire Trump 47 team that just won Trump in Michigan, and countless other grassroots leaders because they've worked side by side with me over the years, including some people that I've butted heads with and haven't always agreed on, like Megan Reckling and Kristen Megan Kelly. These are people that I have gone head to head with on very many issues, but they respect my work ethic and they know that nobody will work harder. If Donald Trump had not won Michigan, I would not be running for your party chair. I would think it'd be a perfect time for a more moderate Jeb Bush, Mike Pence wing of the party to lead this party. And I certainly will be putting in full-time work and not somebody that works full-time. And I think he's a walking billboard for a part-time legislature. And I think it's an embarrassment to the legislature that he claims he only works a couple of hours a day. It's just not true. I commit to you that I will bring the party together and I will win everything back in 2026 with your help. And I ask for your vote.
Thank you, candidates. Now I believe we do have somebody that is going to give a statement.
You could do that.
Yeah.
All right. I think we might even be able to squeeze in one more question from someone in the audience. If you guys have a question that we could ask for each of the 3 candidates, you could raise your hand. Okay, let's start again first. Before we do that, one thing I do want to address, because it did come up, and then I'll also introduce the 2 other vice chair candidates we've got tonight. But this did come up. Yes, the Washington Republican Club is distinct from the Washington Republican Party, and of course, online where we're sharing rescuemichigan.com, we are completely separate from the Washington County Executive Committee. We're doing this event because we want every state delegate to make their own decision about who they support for the state chair. And certainly the Rescue Michigan Coalition does not endorse candidates and will not be endorsing a candidate. And for my part, personally, I'll be honored to see any one of these 3 candidates for the state chair. So please give all of them a round of applause. Thank you very much for coming. All right, let's give Tim King up to ask one question for each of the 3. And Tim, do you want to come up here, or do you want to just speak really loudly? There's a bit of a step, so here, take the mic.
I got a Red Wings jersey. Okay. I was. Does this work?
It's on.
I was wondering while I was sitting here. My question is: in 2020, after President Trump sent Air Force One to get Mike Shirkey and Lee Chatfield to bring them back to the White House to ask them to do your jobs. Go back and call for an investigation. Why was it crickets that we heard in the House and the Senate?
Well, Mike Shirkey had his own opinions. He didn't want to rock the boat. He didn't want to generate any negative publicity. So he just wanted everything to go away. Ruth Johnson was the former Secretary of State. She's the senator that I serve with. And Ruth would talk to me. She sits right behind me, and we would talk all the time about doing an audit of the entire process. She talked to him about it. He said it cost too much money. So then she went and got an investor, said, I will cover the entire cost of doing a forensic audit A to Z. And he said, no, we're shutting it down. He was just one of these people that he wanted to do things his way. He didn't think there was any problems. And so he shut down everything. And people don't understand how power works in the legislature. The majority leader and the speaker have absolute power. And then the majority has absolute power over the minority. The minority has absolutely no power. It's a complete top-down structure. So when he said, we're not doing it, we're shutting everything down, we were all stymied. The best I could tell you is he just didn't want to create any controversy. For the day one, right before the certification election, I was calling for an investigation because I thought there was irregularities up the wazoo. But again, that never got traction with the powers that be. Thank you.
In 2020, I was 16 time zones away in Fiji. And from that far away, I could tell you, I could smell that there was irregularities and something disordered, not only national level, but on the state level. And I think certainly a more robust looking into ought to have happened. And regrettably, in the churn of events, Senator Runestad highlighted the dynamic. It really left things in an impoverished state. I mean, you had a candidate in former President Biden who definitively was in cognitive decline when he was running. He ran the campaign from his bloody basement. When he hit the road, he had 6-foot distancing for crowds of 20. And you mean to tell me that he got 81 million votes? I think we're going to know more in the coming months about as to further what happened. And I think that has to be a transparent process, an accountable process. And I'm happy to see that Speaker Matt Hall is instituting oversight of down government. And I think in that spirit, I think there's another opportunity that he potentially could take a look at it, what happened in 2020, properly done. Thank you very much.
Mike Shirkey is a coward. He was a coward. He was running for governor. And that was more important to him than standing up and fighting for election integrity. I'm sure he loved flying to DC and hobnobbing with Trump just so that he could come back and talk about it. But he never had any intentions of looking into a stolen election. Lee Chatfield was chasing his own tail, chasing girls, whoever knows what else he was chasing, and had no interest in being a leader of our party. That was a sad, sorry time in our party's past. I can tell you that I was fighting for election integrity. I was screaming from the rooftops. My husband, just like Senator Runestad, were screaming for election integrity efforts. My husband signed on to every possible thing that he could. But like Senator Runestad explained, unless you have the Senate Majority Leader or your Speaker of your House in lockstep, you don't really have much other voice. And so that's my short answer: cowardice and laziness.
I have a question. Can I ask a question?
I think we have time for one more question.
Okay, I'll make it quick.
We'll say one lightning round, 1 minute answer.
1 minute answer.
So I am new to politics. Can you put this on there for me? But if you don't know me, I'm the wife of Brian Ignatowski. Kind of nervous, so I'm shaking. But I live in Livingston County, which is a very Republican area, and I'm just really a mom that is concerned about the safety of my children. And recently, we've had radicalized Democrats that have tried to ruthlessly paint our area as something that it's not. They're creating horrible division within my community. And I want to know how you can support Livingston County Republicans. I know that this is a washed-off thing,
But coming from someone from Livingston County, how can you support that party? Because we are getting ruthlessly attacked, left and right, nonstop.
Unfortunately for Livingston County, I mean, I'm not going to make you promises that I could not keep. Livingston County has been under a stigma, just like Detroit is under a stigma, just like Hamtramck right now. You know, it's from decades ago, historically, and they will forever try to tie that. You're probably always going to have fake Klan people marching the streets. You're always going to have fake Nazi people walking the streets. It's all Democrats. It's George Soros. They're just trying to set you up. They're trying to trigger you. And I don't really know what else you can do about it except stand up, be a voice of reason. When you talk about your kids, nothing is more important than parents standing up and fighting for their kids, starting with taking back our schools. I suggest you run for library board or school board. I know your husband's learned a lot about campaigning.
I think that what we need to have across the entire state of Michigan, not just in Livingston, is leadership. I have not seen leadership. The state party chairman can be the leader. You're the person who really the whole state of Michigan is going to look to. The media is going to look to for your responses. What I see is them hanging out in the office. I would be going out and have a media scrum where you come out and say, this is an outrage. What's going out here is despicable. It's disgusting, these lies. If you get out there and you're generating media, then the Democrats are going to go on the offense. I'm saying the defense. They're on the offense. I see the Democrats always on the offense and the Republicans on the defense. We've got to reverse this. You look at what Donald Trump did. Was he ever on the defense? Offense. And you're the biggest megaphone there is the state party chair. That is what I will guarantee you. I will go on offense every day in the office. Thank you.
Well, thank you and Brian for putting yourselves out there as a candidate and the supporting spouse. It is very difficult. As a nominee from President Trump, we left stuff on the battlefield that we didn't have. And I honor your courage for considering to throw yourself back into the fire. I will tell you that if you look at our plan, very specific, very bold, very pioneering, very creative, it talks about several things. It talks about monthly Zoom calls with the county chairman. It involves monthly calls with the district chairman. We are bridge builders by our nature. We are not bridge burners. The grassroots, the leaders thirst for engagement and direction. We will bring intentional leadership, and it would be withering fire without ceasing. Part of our plan also involves a rapid response team. When we see this sort of stuff, we may not get it all, and we turn to you, should we have the honor of serving your chair as co-chairman, to bring it to our attention, and we would drop fire on it to help you as best we can. It's very important. Thank you.
Well, thank you guys, Ambassador Cella, Maddock, and Senator Runestad, and I appreciate the surprise lightning round at the end. On behalf of Adam and his team at the Washington Republican Club, just want to thank all the candidates for coming out. All of the people that have been watching on the live stream, I would highly encourage you guys to support the Washington Republican Club. Stay active. We look forward to seeing you all at the convention Friday and Saturday. Do you have a closing statement? Okay. Thank you very much.
I'll introduce our other vice chairs.
Thanks once again to the candidates for putting up with maybe some, this is entirely on me, some kind of scheduling snafus that may have happened in opening statements after they already started and closing statements before we were done. But they handled it very, very nicely. And with that, we have two candidates for vice chair here to speak. So real quick, introduce Hassan Naimi, who's running for, I believe, a second term as Coalition's vice chair. To hop up, Hassan.
Thank you, guys. Hi, everybody. Hassan Naimi, running for Coalition's vice chair, current Coalition's vice chair. As you guys know, these last 2 years have been pretty hard on the vice chairs. We're going to get a lot of support in our roles and help from the higher up in the party to get our things done. But I've done a lot of work on the ground level. We've worked tirelessly with multiple businesses across the state to get more business leaders involved. As we know, we're sitting here listening to the chair candidates speak about getting funding, and we think about these high dollar checks that come in. But when we reach down and get into our community levels and meet the business owners, meet people that are making the investments in the area, and start speaking to these people and showing them how these policies and issues that Democrats are putting forth are affecting them, they jump on board and pass these $400, $500, $300 checks, and those add up really quickly to help us get things done. As vice chair, I work tirelessly in minority communities, especially the Dearborn community, obviously trying to open the door to Wayne County and get a lot of the minority groups to vote red, which we did an amazing turnout. That took a lot of work on its own and opened the door for more opportunities across the state with other minority groups. We worked with the Hispanic Americans, obviously the Arab Americans, African Americans. We were in pretty much all across the state wherever they needed us. I worked tirelessly with multiple youth organizations. I'm actually endorsed by the College Republicans, Wayne State College Republicans. I work with them very closely. Their president behind us. Because of the work that I've done with them and how I believe that also the coalition's vice chair needs to bring a lot of the organizations that are out chasing the votes, but also help these youth organizations get things done. There's a competition, and we know in every area, when we look at election integrity, you know, when we're looking at example with the youth organizations, the organizations are all working in their own direction, but all trying to get the same mission done. As coach and chair, when you see this and you walk in, start speaking to them, get them all to kind of come together and work in the same direction, we start to see a lot more traction pick up. So with the lovely candidates that we have running for chair now, we know that the vice chairs will get support. We know we've gone through it for 2 years to see what was wrong and what we need to work with policy committee to try to make changes to get our party where it needs to be, get organized. I'm asking for re-election because I have a lot more work to do. I want to continue working for you guys and trying to get things done across our state and inviting everybody to work together. Thank you.
And a candidate for Administrative Vice Chair Cheryl Constantino has Alexander Taylor to speak on her behalf for a few minutes tonight.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Alexandria Taylor. I bring you greetings from the 13th Congressional District, where I'm the Executive Vice Chair, and my amazing chair is Cheryl Constantino. She is in Florida right now with her mom, and I'm pleased to bring your prayers. Her mom is in the hospital. Cheryl is running for Administrative Vice Chair. She has proven her leadership in this party. She has for 30 years working on campaigns dating back to Spencer Abraham, who ran for U.S. Senate years ago. She wants to make our conventions more efficient. I'm not sure how many of you were at Flint in August, but a 14-hour convention is definitely a no-go. Cheryl is the mayor pro tem in Harper Woods. She is a U.S. Army veteran. She served her country, she served her community, and now she wants to serve the Michigan Republican Party in the capacity of Administrative Vice Chair. So on her behalf, I ask for your vote at the convention for Cheryl Constantino. Thank you.
All right, please give all of our candidates one more round of applause, please. And a round of applause for our moderators, Brian Gutowski and Angela Dom. Thank you guys so much for volunteering to do this. And real quick, just one more shameless plug for our organization. I think you guys probably already get our emails because you got here somehow. But if you haven't already, you go to WashingtonGOPclub.com, become a member. We have a lot of events coming up in the very near future to announce. In fact, I think, Matt, is Clubapalooza already a thing, March 4th? Is that official? March 4th? So, save the date, March 4th. We're going to have an inter-club event with ourselves, the Northville and Plymouth Republican clubs, and a bunch of other people. South Line Republican Club. So look forward to that. That's on March 4th, and lots more news to come. We have various tier membership. You get various prizes if you haven't already become a member, and you can get your free Trump meme calendar. It's already in February, so you want to get that. And of course, different levels. You can also get shirts, hats, and other things as well. So please do support. You can pay on an annual basis or monthly. And we look forward to working with you guys and having a lot of fun in the days, weeks, and months, and years to come. So thank you very much. And Brent, you have more things to say? Here we go. Here we go.
And how about a round of applause for Adam and everybody that helped organize this event tonight? Thanks, Adam.
And I would like to, how long do you have the room till?
Another 2 minutes.
2 minutes, okay.
Well,
Again, their website is wash.gopclub.com. For those of you guys that are watching the live stream, you're not going to see this, but it's a packed room. We had standing room only, so make sure you're following, keeping track of the calendar, and coming out to their events. They put on one heck of a show. Thanks, guys. Good night.